Hello everyone, and welcome to a sub-video from Unusual Things. This is going to be called Friday Night Ghost Stories. Each and every Friday night I will be bringing you a short tale of a horror/ghost story that I have written, and I've written many for over the years, and I want to bring them to you. So make sure you turn off the lights, cover yourself up with that cushion, and listen to Friday Night Ghost Stories. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and be prepared to get your mind thinking and your body trembling.
The village of Bracken Hollow was the sort of place you could cross in under 10 minutes and still have time to stop for gossip. Low stone walls hemmed in the crooked lanes, and ivy choked the crumbling chimneys of cottages that stood for centuries. Everyone knew everyone else's name, and everyone knew their business. Or they thought they did. The first death didn't raise much alarm. It wasn't a person. It was old Mr. Penrose's collie, Bramble. He was found one morning sprawled in the lane, belly split and ribs glistening in the pale dawn light. Mr. Penrose said it was a fox. The foxes around Bracken Hollow were bolder these days. But the wound, it was too precise, too deliberate. Within weeks, other animals met the same fate. Cats gutted on doorsteps, sheep with their throats open in the fields. Even a tethered horse with its eye pecked out. Each time the villagers gathered in the nave of St. Wolfram's church, their voices hushed. As Father Whitcomb stood at the pulpit, hands folded piously, the vicar's voice was warm and steady. The Lord tests us in many ways, but even in darkness we must stand together, my flock. They believed him. They always had. By mid-autumn the first person died. Margaret Foyle, a widow who kept herself to herself, was found slumped at her kitchen table. Her hands were nailed to the wood with rusted roofing spikes. Whoever had done this had taken her tongue. The constable from the next parish came, looked pale and left with promises to investigate thoroughly. That night the church was full. The villagers clung to Father Whitcomb's words as if they could ward off evil. "We will pray for Margaret's soul," he said, softly eyes scanning the rows, "and for the soul of whoever walks this wicked path among us." When Mrs. Braden's boy, only 12, was found strung up in the belfry of the church a month later, the whispers began. Some blamed travellers. Others muttered about witchcraft. The air in Bracken Hollow grew thick with suspicion, and yet they still came to the vicar. He poured them tea in the rectory, spoke with such deep sorrow in his voice, and placed a hand on theirs while they wept. Winter crept in. The snow hid the stains in the road, but nothing could hide the smell. The metallic tang of blood that seemed to cling to the air. Death came every few weeks now. A shopkeeper gutted in her own storeroom. The blacksmith's apprentice drowned. 3 brothers found in their barn, each missing their heart. Father Whitcomb presided over each funeral with quiet dignity. If anything, the killings brought more people to his pews. The village was folding in on itself, desperate for comfort. But some began to notice odd things. Mrs. Fenwick swore she saw the vicar in the graveyard at midnight, standing over freshly turned soil. Tom Barker's daughter woke screaming, saying she'd seen a shadow with Father Whitcomb's face at her window. One evening, Mary Wren, whose husband had been the latest victim, stayed after prayers to speak with him. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her voice raw. Why us? Why now? Why does God allow this? The vicar's smile was faint, almost indulgent. Because, my dear, some souls are sweeter when they suffer. Mary blinked, thinking she had misheard him. But when she looked into his eyes, there was no kindness there, no grief, only hunger. The next morning, Mary was found in the churchyard, her body folded neatly into the hollow of a yew tree, every bone broken, as if by some vast weight. By spring, Bracken Hollow was half empty. Those who could leave did. Those who stayed kept their doors bolted and their curtains drawn. The constable never returned. The letters to the authorities went unanswered. It was as if the village had been completely erased from the map. One night, a group of villagers decided they could take no more. They went to the rectory with torches, their breath steaming in the cold. But the vicar's home was empty. The fire in the grate was still warm. Upstairs in the locked trunk they found tokens, scraps of clothing, locks of hair, the preserved tongues of animals and people alike floating in jars of cloudy brine. And in the centre, pinned like a moth in a display case, was a scrap of paper with every victim's name written in the same careful hand, ending with 4 more names at the bottom. Names of villagers still alive. By the time they fled to raise the alarm, the church bell was tolling on its own. The next morning, the village was silent. Every one of the 4 names had been crossed off the list. Their bodies were never found. Father Whitcomb was gone. But there were rumours. A parish in the next counties whispered about a new vicar with a kindly face and a voice like warm honey. Attendance at his church was higher than ever. People there had been losing their pets, but no one was ready to draw the lines, not yet. Some say, if you visit Bracken Hollow now, you can still hear the bell tolling at night. Not for the dead, but for those who are about to die. And somewhere in a candlelit vestry, Father Whitcomb is smiling as another grieving soul takes his hand.
I hope you enjoyed that little story this evening. Make sure you tune in next Friday for your regular dose of a Friday night ghost story with me, Paul. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.